Okay, let's jump right into today's podcast. The talk today that we're going to talk about is why raising happy, resilient kids requires the entire family. And if we can see this video of Sullivan running here, this is what we're talking about as far as the standard for our kids. I'm a father of three, and I have an 11-year-old daughter at the time of this recording. I have a 9-year-old son and then another 6-year-old son. And this is our niece Sullivan, and she's running on the beach. And just if I could replay this a couple more times, look and see like how everyone responds to her. Like everyone she runs by is just lit up and smiling just by her joy. And so really, if we could, when we talk about raising happy, resilient kids, this is the standard. We are Sullivan on the beach, running with joy, infectiously contagious towards everyone around them. And for me, that's what I want my kids to experience. That's what I want them to grow into as they become young adults and then adults and have families of their own. And it takes every single member of a family to make sure this happens. And I would extrapolate to a community. However, we don't have control over the community. We only have control over what we have control over ourselves, and then our direct people that are in our relationships that we live with. And outside of that, it gets pretty difficult to influence other people. And so, why we took on this mission really roots back to about 5 years ago, when the COVID pandemic happened. We had this really strong friendship group, Chelsea and I, my wife, and we would go on vacations together. We were served on multiple nonprofit boards with them, and all of our kids like would play, and they would run, and they would joke, and they would talk. And it was, when we get together, there was this ease with everything because all our kids got along and they were healthy, and there was no emotional management. There weren't any blowouts. And then what happened during the pandemic, as the mandates became intensive, as the stress increased, as the toxicity of the world increased with negativity, inactivity, masking, vaccine mandates, what happened is, what we saw within our friend group is that it only took one person not being healthy to be able to destroy an entire family. We had one friend who, at the time before the pandemic, was a manager of a grocery store, and he then took on, as a coping mechanism, alcoholism and gambling addiction. Ended up getting divorced and going into massive debt. And what we got to see, I mean, directly, from an outside looking in, is all their kids struggled. Their kids all of a sudden started developing emotional management issues where they would melt down and cry and or freak out and be violent and hit each other. And so really this mission of helping family raise resilient kids stem back to just seeing that one family member not getting support, not being healthy, can literally crumble the infrastructure of an entire family and prevent raising happy, resilient kids, because we as a family unit are only going to be as strong as the weakest link. And so, and really, I have a good amount of guilt because that friend I wasn't able to support through this difficult time that he went through with the pandemic. And so the mission now is everybody, because as a pediatric chiropractor, we typically would see moms and kids, and we realize that that's not good enough anymore. We need to have entire families being healthy and resilient and happy in order to raise happy, resilient kids. And so, how do we address this? How do we kind of steer the conversation so it's not judgmental? Because really, by all means, uh, through future podcasts, you're going to understand more of the neurology and how these meltdowns and breakdowns and this addiction process within adults is predictable, and it is reversible, and it is correctable, and there's no judgment with it. And so how do we rephrase it? So rather than, having this current idea of like, well, they just needed to, make better choices, or, oh, they just needed to be stronger, have stronger willpower, or, oh, they just needed to, be the right person, right? And with all the judgment, there's never any real solutions or based on any understanding. So what I've done is I've come up with a very, very simple way to understand what's happening neurologically within the family unit that then is also the social unit, which is the community unit, which is then our basic ecosystem that we all exist in right now. And it comes down to as simple as this: what we have is an epidemic of the walking dead. And when I say that, I again don't mean to be insulting, more just if we can think of one side of the spectrum as a happy, resilient Sullivan running on the beach level energy and vitality, and then on the other side of just zombieing through life. And at the root cause of this walking dead is this addiction that we have to social expectation. Let me just ask you that. I mean, right now, like as a parent, how much freaking pressure is on you in order to do the right thing? And we saw this undeniably during the pandemic. I mean, there were very few people that I knew before the pandemic that would consider wearing a mask all day long, every day, in their work, at their in their car, in public, that would consider that a good measurement, a good tool to prevent someone from getting sick. No one did it until all of a sudden everyone should do it. And so the social pressure that people saying, I'm just doing this because I want to make other people feel better. And don't we do this now in every area of life? Like online with social media, they got their stuff together. Look at their family. We got to put our best image on. And this process of meeting social expectations, this social pressure, in essence, is what's causing this walking dead status. And so if you look around, and this again is to if you've seen a zombie movie, this is how pretty much every zombie movie goes. The zombie day one, everything's fine. Next day, zombie apocalypse. And all of a sudden, no one knows how the zombies began. No one sits down and dissects like, hey, we really got to get to the root of this problem. All it's just zombie apocalypse. And that's kind of where we're at now, is that all of a sudden we've now gone through several generations and we have the highest rate of addiction, we have the highest rate of mental illness, and we're the richest country in the world in the United States. And so we are right there. And if you kind of think about someone who is not in a happy, resilient place, that is a person that is now in a zombie status. Okay. So Sullivan level. So I would say I would include myself on this the scale, that I am on this zombie scale, and kids that are happy and resilient are not. They're fully alive. So at the point where I can run around and be joyful 24/7 and play with strangers, I can say that I'm not. But I'm going to go ahead and own this right now, in case you think that I am this. Oh, all you zombies out there. I am not. I am part of the group. I am part of it, right? And what is in every zombie movie? What do they want? What do zombies want to do? They just want to convert non-zombies into zombies. That's all they care about. They just go through life, and their one mission is to convert non-zombies to zombies. Once they're zombies, that's like now they're part of the team. And that's kind of what social expectations done, hasn't it? It's look around. There is all these things that we all do because we're all supposed to do it. And in essence, we're just all turning each other into zombies. And you'll kind of know, because there's a theme within zombies. And the theme is that it's just getting through the day. Like when we see in our office hundreds of people a week, and that's a common theme that majority of people struggle with. Their goal that they have is like, I just want to have enough energy to get through the day. Or on the second part, they kind of know what they need to do to be less zombie-ish, but is they just don't have the time, or they don't have the resources, the money, they don't have the flexibility in their schedule. They're just they got all these other stuff that we're supposed to do in order to be a good parent, be a good wife, be a good husband. And so therefore they just don't have anything extra. And then the third, and this is kind of the resignation of becoming this walking dead, accepting the status of just getting through life, is this mantra of like, I tried it before. I tried to to work out. I tried to eat healthy. I tried to go to the chiropractor. I tried to insert whatever XYZ thing that they think they need to do. And it didn't work. And then they're just like, well, this is the way it's going to be. And there's there's two types of zombies. There is part of the herd and then not part of the herd. So the herd part of the zombies are the people that are constantly hungry. The people that they struggle with their weight because they are just hungry. They're never full. They're always craving. And that goes right into line with the addiction status, right? Someone is struggling with an addiction. They have this hunger inside that can't be satisfied. They're then exhausted, where they just simply don't have the energy to do anything else. And so what happens after that is they get reactive. Moms snap at their kids, dads snap at their moms, husbands get snippy with their wives get snippy with their husbands, and they react rather than having connective conversation. They're simply reacting all day long. I've heard it said, I just feel like I'm putting out fires all the day long. I'm just in survival mode. And then the last part is just disengaged. They're disengaged at home. They're disengaged at their job. They're disengaged with their relationships. They get on, they get home, they get on their phone, they get connected. So they get plugged into their technology in order to give themselves a dopamine hit. They are, men are looking at porn for countless hours. Kids are get their tablet just so they can have the parents can have a moment of peace. And now, if we break this metaphor down into the zombie apocalypse, in every zombie show or movie, I mean, step number one is you got to get away from the zombies. And because if there is one zombie that is around, that zombie will convert everyone else into zombies. And in further podcasts, we're going to dive into the neurology of why that is. But in essence, we want the people around us to be like us. And so whatever status we're in, we are going to then affect the other status. So the other people's statuses. So one husband that's struggling with addiction, that is exhausted, it's reactive, that's disengaged, can completely destroy any progress of the healing within the family. And a mom who's not taking care of herself, that is reactive and burnt out and stressed out, that's just getting through the day, it cannot intuitively connect with the children. And then kids that are growing up, and is this a lack of information, by the way? No. Go online. You'll find every single thing with related to how to be healthy. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone's an expert on this. But really, what it comes down to is a simple imbalance within neuroanatomy. That's it. There's an imbalance within neuroanatomy. The survival mechanisms that are the autonomic fight or flight response are overactivated. The rest, digest, develop, heal systems within our neuroanatomy that are automatic are weak. So it's just a matter of restoring balance within the brain and then having restored balance within the body in order to then move away from this walking dead status and into fully alive, running Sullivan on the beach level joy. So the reason why this means as much to me as it does is I had watched our core group of friends completely disintegrate and self-destruct during the pandemic. I grew up very poor in a trailer in Snohomish, like didn't have dinner poor, with my mom who struggled with legal drug addiction because of pain pills, muscle relaxers, because her team of medical doctors were managing her. And and then my dad was a landscaper and who's also struggled with drug addiction, ended up getting caught with drugs and pretty much stunted his ability to professionally develop in order to support his family of 4 boys. And that family then inevitably led to divorce, which then led to this broken house, which then led to four boys that just went crazy. And my oldest brother became a drug addict after serving in the military. My youngest brother became addicted to alcohol after serving in the military and food. And my other younger brother ended up getting addicted to illegal drugs. And me, myself, went through a rollover car crash in high school where my friend was driving. He thought it'd be fun to go 55 miles an hour down the driveway, lost control, hit the embankment. We rolled several times. He didn't have a seatbelt on. I did. So when he flew out of his seat, I grabbed a hold of him, which then pushed me through the side window. I hit my face into the ground. And then, as end results, suffered pretty significant head trauma, and then also compressed a bunch of discs in my back and tore a bunch of muscles in my back. That left me then walking with a limp, again, on the same drug addiction that my mom went on, which was trusting my medical providers. And it was after being in the status of literally, I mean, I was the walking dead. I walked with a leg drag. My part of my face was paralyzed. Just smoked copious amounts of marijuana, took pain pills, muscle relaxers, just to get through the day. And and there was one thought every night. I couldn't sleep because of the anxiety and depression waves of it. Lay in bed, and I would just ask the question, like, if this is the way the rest of my life is going to be, is that life actually worth living? And I'm here to tell you that the answer is no. But that doesn't mean that death is the outcome. And that's a lot of people go to suicide as the answer to this question. But restoring balance within the brain and the body then allows us to move out of that status. I mean, it's never too late. For me, I then was sent to a chiropractor, which then, in essence, that's all chiropractors do. I mean, we can make it super fancy and throw a bunch of Latin phrases in there, but every chiropractic adjustment restores balance within neuroanatomy, allows us to come back to life. And I had a goal after that first visit to the chiropractor, because one of my friends recommended I went, and I was like, why would I even go? Because, I mean, they're not real doctors. Medical doctors don't trust them. Why? I mean, they're super smart. Everyone knows that. So why would I trust these people? But again, at this point, I'm contemplating suicide on a regular basis. So I end up going. And after that first visit, I got hope restored to myself. Not hope that, oh my gosh, I'm miraculously cured, but because I got the first adjustment, went home. Next day felt absolutely awful. Like I got hit by a bus. And the day after that, I felt I can move a little bit easier. And then after 3 years of diligently following a care plan, I regained my ability to. At 41 years old, I ran 41 miles on my birthday, and I've run marathons, and I'm healthy and active and high energy. Not quite Sullivan level energy, but that's my goal. And my mission moving forward, and the reason why I became a chiropractor, was that I wanted to stop the spread that seemed to affect my family for generations, and that seems to affect other people's families, because I did not want my kids to experience the life that we had growing up. I wanted to stop the spread from my generation to my kids' generation. So the reason why this video exists is to know that every single one of you matters that much. Every one of you matters that much to stopping the spread of the Walking Dead from whatever you want to call it, familiar trauma, generational sin, whatever it is. Every single person has the power to stop it from affecting the next generation. And that's for me the most important thing that I spend my energy on, my time on, my money on, is my kids, so they can be a little bit better than what we were. And in essence, light up the world one well-adjusted family at a time. So if you have a thought where you're like, you know what, this person's too far gone, it's not true. If you think I'm too far gone, I've been this way for too long, it's not true. I'm going to do this for my kids, but not for myself, that is not true. You have to be good yourself. You have to restore balance within your neuroanatomy and your body yourself, because your kids, to be healthy and resilient, they will mimic you. Your example of regaining your balance is what they will follow, not what you say, not what you preach, not what you tell them or correct them or think that you need to discipline them into submission or guidance or whatever term you want to use. They will follow your example. They will mimic you. So you matter. Grandparents matter. Aunts and uncles matter. Every single person in your family matters, because every single person in your family deserves to be Sullivan level joy running on the beach. Again, I'm Dr. Devin Brossard. Thank you for taking the time to go through this first couple slides of why full families is our focus. If you're ready to come and start the process of restoring balance within your brain, within your body, in order to then, in really an unbalanced world, to raise happy, resilient kids, click on the link above, and then you can set up your first appointment, which then will be a consultation with me where we can go over your goals, your struggles, and then start a plan and a roadmap to get you back to a balanced state.